Hey internet, my name's The Nobody and welcome to the first episode of Entitled Parents. Now, a quick heads up about my videos. They're usually going to be kind of different from other Reddit videos because some of them, not all, but some are going to be recorded in TTS, text to speech for those of you who don't know. Now also some of them are just going to be recorded, like this, in my normal voice, but this video is actually going to be text to speech. And I really hope you guys give it a try because trust me, after a few minutes, sometimes hours, you get used to it and you really start to love it. And again, not all of my videos will be text to speech, just some like this one. Now anyway, let's get right into the video.
I stole your identity, now please go to jail for me. I don't post on Reddit often, so be patient with me. Also, this is kind of a long one, so get some popcorn. About 15 years ago I was in a car accident, not my fault, and I was awarded $25,000 in insurance money as a result. I took the opportunity to move out of my mom's home and get a cute little studio apartment for me and my cat. The people on either side of the courtyard were very nice and I made friends fairly quickly with all of the neighbors despite being so much younger than all of them. After living there for around a year I met a girl my age and we became, I thought, good friends. She had marriage problems and was separated from her husband, and the 2 children she had were in foster care for reasons she wouldn't tell anyone. She begged me to help her get her kids back from CPS, so I got the list of guidelines from the local office and together, Beggar and I started planning to try to get her children back. I bought her children furnishings and helped her get a job. I even used some of my insurance money to help her get a used car so that she had transportation for her and her kids. And she did get her kids back. They had a small 2-bedroom apartment. She slept on the couch and her children each had their own bedrooms. The girl's room was decked out in Dora the Explorer furnishings that I had bought for her, and the boy's room was decorated with sports cars as he requested. It was a lot of money, but I was a sucker and I thought it was a good cause. Soon after getting her kids back she stopped coming over as often. Her kids came over all the time but she was usually nowhere to be seen. I found out that she was attempting to settle things with her husband. And he moved in with her, bringing his drug problem with him. I also noticed the sleeping arrangements had changed. They had crammed the children into the smallest bedroom together, pawning off all of the toys and furniture that wouldn't fit. Apparently they used the money on pills. At this point I sort of started distancing myself from Beggar because I don't want to be involved with someone doing drugs. I did still watch the kids however, as I felt bad for them. Their parents were often found loaded up on pills and alcohol. At this point I was out of insurance money and was working 12-hour shifts with elderly hospice patients as a caregiver. I used a large portion of my income to make sure the kids were fed since Beggar and her husband spent all their money on drugs and liquor. It also meant that I very rarely had time to hike down to the center courtyard to check my mail. I'm guessing I had gone a month without looking, expecting that all I had was a few catalogs and several copies of the weekly shopper coupons. I've learned my lesson and I check my mail often now. When I opened my mailbox I was alarmed by the large stack of government sealed letters that had been wedged in it. There were 6 separate letters, all of which accused me of a different offense. This culminated in my having 5 warrants out for my arrest and a court date. It turns out that Beggar had gotten an old used car from a local junk dealership. The car had, if I can remember the list, no tags, an expired license plate and a missing tail light, so of course it was pulled over. Beggar, being on a probational period with CPS, meaning if she stepped out of line they would take her kids away again, panicked and decided that she would lie about her identity. So, she said she was me and she was driving without a license and insurance because she had forgotten her purse. Bitch. The first thing I did was go to her and ask what this was, as I recognized the model of car as the one she was so proud to have gotten after having pawned the car I helped her get a year prior. I didn't even know you could pawn a car, BTW. She smiled at me and simply said, you don't have a criminal record so they won't punish you like they would me. You don't want me to lose my kids again, do you? I'm not sure what she expected, but I was beyond caring at that point. I was pissed. The first thing I did was cancel my work for the next few days and I set about making appointments with a lawyer and the police officer that took Beggar's word that she was me simply because she knew my name and address. The next day I was at the police department where I watched a video of the interaction between the cop and beggar. Turns out he was a newbie and he just didn't want to get in trouble for taking someone's word when he really shouldn't have. And luckily for me, beggar's husband was there and she was instructed to switch seats with him because I can't allow you to drive without proper ID, mom. She then walked around the back of the car, in full view of the camera. The officer admitted his mistake since I wasn't pregnant, my hair wasn't a gigantic curly mess and I was a good foot taller than she was. I know I didn't mention her being pregnant, but I had to cut some things out. The next day, on my way out to visit my lawyer, I was waylaid by beggar and beggar's mom. They were both furious with me for going to the police and I was instructed to go back to the station and tell them that I made a mistake and that I actually was the one at fault. When I said no, the shit hit the fan. Beggar left but her mother remained. She stood in my way on the path and wouldn't let me get to my car, all the while screaming about how she was going to tell everyone that I molested the children when they were in my care. I was young and that did scare me a little because I didn't want to be placed on a list for something I would never ever do. Still though, I recognized that she was screaming these threats in full view of many of the neighbors in my courtyard, many of whom had stepped outside to see what all the fuss was about. The police were called and she was given a warning. I was asked if I wanted to get a restraining order but, for some reason I said no. Over the next few days CPS approached me and I told them everything, all the while feeling like I should have come forward sooner. The children were again taken into foster care. And that is where all of this should have ended, with me learning a valuable lesson. Nope. In the weeks that followed, beggar gave my phone number to everybody under the sun. I was called for drugs, sexual favors and even for loans. One of my car's windows was smashed in with a brick and there was shoe polish writing the words lying whore on the back of the car. At one point people started coming and banging on the door of my apartment in the middle of the night and they shattered my front window and broke my bird feeder. I was saved from taking any legal action for all of this when beggar's husband and beggar were thrown in jail for identity theft, buying and selling drugs. All of the charges that had previously been mine and child endangerment, there may have been more but I can't remember. The apartment hired 24 hours security because of everything that had happened and they also installed security cameras all around the courtyards. TLDR, I learned a hard lesson on who I can and cannot trust after having a friend steal my identity and almost getting tossed in jail for crimes that she committed.
I don't care if your daughter is disabled, my child is too sleepy to walk. M equals entitled mom. EK equals entitled kid. W equals woman. First post now that I finally have the karma. Lurking long enough to know the lingo. Backstory, my daughter is disabled. She has nonverbal autism and TBI, traumatic brain injury, which means she looks relatively normal, but she is profoundly disabled. I rarely take her out into public alone because she is so hard to manage, especially now that she is almost 9. Not only will she not stay with me, she will bolt like a greyhound, scream, rip things open, steal toys from babies and otherwise be an impossible nuisance. For this reason, I almost always order what I need for delivery, including groceries. However, life is unpredictable sometimes and I every so often have to brave a trip to the grocery store. A few years ago, the gods smiled down on me when the local grocery store I prefer started using the Caroline cart. If you don't know what that is, it's a special cart with a large seat for disabled children who are too big for the toddler seat. They park it with the scooters and wheelchairs with a big blue handicap marker on it so that parents don't mistakenly use it for their older, able-bodied children, but admittedly, this doesn't seem to stop them. I see people using it all the time, like one of the carts with a toy car attached for their kids to drive while they shop. This particular day a few weeks ago, the snow was so heavy and intense that not only was school cancelled, but so was my grocery delivery. I would have to go to the store with my daughter. As usual, I walked in praying that the Caroline cart would be available, and thank goodness it was. Strapping my daughter into the seat, It has a 5-point harness. I started shopping. As usual, my first stop was the bakery to get a free cookie. They always hand them out to kids. I noticed right away that there were a lot of other kids there that day, and assumed that many parents were like me, saddled with their kids during the snow day and unable to get grocery delivery. The bakery was hopping and there were a number of parents and kids waiting for a new batch of cookies to be ready. One of the mothers seemed particularly harried and I cannot say I blamed her. Her daughter, around age 5, was having a meltdown. She was angry, crying, shouting, demanding a cookie.
They aren't ready yet, honey. We just have to wait.
Noticing the glances of everyone around her, she looked defensive but apologized, saying, "I'm sorry, she's very tired, it's past her nap time." No one said anything. We were all parents, we understood. My daughter did not like the noise, and as she often does when she is irritated, she was stimming, that is, flapping her hands or pushing a fist into her ear over and over. I got out her Minnie Mouse phone and handed it to her, and she calmed down and started playing with it. Looking over, the EM saw us and looked inexplicably relieved.
Oh thank goodness. That cart wasn't there when we came in. Do you mind if I use it? EK is exhausted.
Me, oh, I'm sorry, but my daughter actually needs it. She's disabled. The EM blinked and looked at my daughter playing quietly with her toy.
She doesn't look disabled. What's wrong with her? Can she walk?
I was flabbergasted at how insanely rude that was. Me, yes, she can walk, but she would run off in a hot second. I can't hang on to her and shop at the same time.
So you're using the disabled cart because your daughter doesn't listen to you. Look, she's much older than my little girl and she seems fine. We really need the cart.
She started coming over and I protectively pulled the cart closer to me. Me, no, she has autism.
Jesus, everyone has autism. That's not a real disability.
I was pretty pissed at this point. Me, the cart is for disabled children, like you just said, not sleepy children. Why don't you use a car cart?
There aren't any car carts. Besides, I can't see her in that. Just let me use the cart.
The shouting upset my daughter again and she started doing the thing where she punches her ear over and over. It was the first time she looked abnormal and the woman looked visibly distraught and sort of grossed out. By now, other people were paying more attention and this wonderful older woman said, "Ma'am, autism can be a very severe disability. Look, you're upsetting the little girl and the cart is for disabled children. You need to stop now." I decided to skip the cookie and just leave, so I turned the cart around and walked off. No one stopped me, but the older woman saw us waiting in line and insisted I go in front of her so I could get home. My little girl was at that point, possessively clutching the string to a helium balloon I was intending to buy, but I was debating how to get it away from her so it could be scanned without making her flip out, because you can't just take stuff from her. The woman saw my struggle and reached out to tear the scan code sticker off the string and put it with her purchases. I've got it. She winked at me and my little girl and said, "I think you could use a little extra kindness today." Me, oh no. It's an $8 balloon really. I insist. I thanked her profusely and left with tears in my eyes, touched. I love it when people try to make my day a little easier.
I watched you win the prize, so it's my prize. So this story is many years old. I was about 8, so I'll recall as best as I can. Me equals me, EK equals entitled kid, S equals sister. My mom had dropped my sister and I off at Chuck E. Cheese. We each got like $10 or $20. IDK exactly. We split up to cover more ground, to get more tickets for a bigger prize, lol. I was playing a game. I won the jackpot. EK goes through my legs and snatches all the tickets. Me. Those are not yours, give them back. EK, no, I got them first. Me, starting to cry, I won them, give them to me, or I'll get my sister. EK. I watched you play, so they are mine. Me, no they are not. Sister hears me yelling and comes over. Me too. S, he stole my tickets that I won. S2EK, you give those back, or I will get your mom and you'll be grounded, kind of like an entitled parent threatening to get you fired lol. EK, no they are mine, I won them. I ripped them out of his hands. EK starts crying, running away. I go to another game. I recalled it pretty poorly, because I was 8, but I did the best I can. Okay, hope you enjoyed that one. Now on to the next story. By the way, sorry but this one will also be an entitled kid story. I will be sure to make the next video only entitled parents. EK ruins my birthday party and is mad when I don't give her the gifts. On mobile, sorry in advance. Me equals who do you think? EK equals entitled kid stepsister. M equals mom. SD equals stepdad. So this all happened when I turned 10 and was over at my grandparents' house when it happened. Everything started out fine until it was time for the cake, so I blew the candles out and then they started serving it with some juice. I had gotten my piece before her and that's when it all started. EK is as old as me. EK, why does she get cake first? SD, well she's the birthday girl. EK, but I wanted mine first. EK then proceeds to pout until she gets her slice. Everything was fine with me until she purposely spills her drink on my cake. Me, what the heck EK? EK, it was an accident. Friend, no it wasn't. I saw you do it. EK, you're lying, because you want me to get in trouble. I just get another slice and ate. It was going along smoothly, and I had to go to the bathroom, so I did. When I come out everyone's crowding her because she's crying, and won't tell them why, until I get in there. EK points to me, she said she hated me when I accidentally spilled my drink on her cake. That's when everyone who was sitting at the table with me pointed out that one no I did not, until she purposely spilled her drink. She then says that everyone at our table was lying. My SD took her away from the rest of the party. Me and my mom went home. EK, where's all the presents? Me, I put them away. Why? EK, but I wanted the insert popular toy. Me, I wasn't going to give you anything. EK, what? But we are sisters. Me, you ruined my party, lied about me, and now you want my things? No. EK runs off to SD and complains why can't she have my things. SD takes my side and she pouts away. I'm glad to say she's not longer my stepsister. Edit for those wondering what happened, my parents had gotten a divorce and I never saw her after that. Edit 2 thank you so much for the silver kind stranger. Edit 3 I put this on r/entitled-kids because someone told me about the subreddit. It fits more on there, but thank you for reading it here. Alright everyone, I hope you enjoyed that video. Be sure to keep an eye out for more content in the future. This was my first one, so I'm sure the other videos will only get better. Be sure to subscribe to my Tinder, follow my Gmail, and like me on Discord.